Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Another video with Mr. Wael Abdurrahman. Kindly, before we start, like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on notifications. Let's start. Okay, so today we have December 2020 Literacy Test 2. الحقيقة الامتحان ده كان موجود على الويب سايت بتاع ال EST، ولكن for one reason or another هو اتحذف، مش موجود دلوقتي على الويب سايت بتاعهم، ولكن انا قلت ان احنا هنستفيد منه برضو يعني. اوكي، فنبتدي كده ان شاء الله. اوكي، بالfirst passage. literacy narrative. طبعا احنا قلنا في literacy narrative usually ان احنا we look for ايه بقى characters, setting, traits, attitude, shift في attitude. ولكن actually الباسج دي كانت غريبة شوية لان هي ما فيهاش اي characters، هي مجرد setting the stage هيجي للكاركترز وللاحداث، فهي introduction للستوري نفسها. فاحنا هنعمل ايه؟ هنشوف هنستخدم التكنيكس بتاعتنا عادي جدا، وهنحاول احنا نعمل سكيب لو في ديتيلز، وهنشوف البيج ايدياز هو عايز ايه. اوكي، طيب نقرا البليرب كده ونشوف بيطلع منه ايه. اوكي، the following edited passage is taken from A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. مش مهم. The novel takes place before and after the French Revolution. الحته دي مهمه. And the passage introduces the first paragraph of the novel, setting the stage for future events. فهو ادانا هنا حقيقي السيتنج، ادانا السيتنج بتاعنا ان هي التايم هي before الفرنش ريفولوشن، يبقى it's about the French Revolution او بتقدم للثوره الفرنسيه. اوكي، طب البيربس هو برضه قاله لي ايه البيربس من الباسج دي كلها؟ setting the stage for future events، يعني بيحضر حضرتك وبيحضرك للاحداث اللي جايه. اوكي، let's read. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. لاحظين هنا البداية superlative خالص، يعني كانت أحسن أيام for some people. في ناس عايشة so rich فبالنسبة لهم it was the best of times، عايزين أحسن أوقاتهم. It was the worst of times. And at the same time it was the worst of times for the people. اوكي، ما ننساش ان احنا this is about the French Revolution، فدايما حط في دماغك ده. اوكي. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. شايفين الكونتراست؟ best, worst, wisdom, foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. Epoch like age. People believed. It was the epoch of incredulity. عكس belief. They disbelieved. They both have the opposites. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. Again, it was the spring of hope. That time in France and in England, it was the time of hope. And at the same time, it was the winter of despair. شايفين هنا ال duality، يعني two opposite، بيقول حاجة ويقول عكسها. ففي ناس كانوا عايشين مرتاحين جدا، they were wise, they lived in light, and at the same time the poor people, they lived in despair, they lived in incredulity, they lived in, it was the worst of times for them. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period. So that time, so بيتكلم على فترة قبل كده, it's just like the time we live now. شبه الفترة اللي احنا عايشينها دي. That some of its noisiest authorities insisted of its being received, for good or for evil, in the superlative degree of comparison only. عشان كده قال superlative لما اقول لك bad مثلا worst, tall the tallest، فما كانش في حاجة في الوسط، يا فقير قوي يا غني قوي، يا light يا darkness، يا hope يا despair. This is the time. Again he is setting the stage. الناس كانت عايشة ازاي في الفترة دي. دايما اسأل نفسك why is he doing that? Setting the stage. والراجل قال في البلurb. Okay. There were a king with a large jaw. Now description. Who ruled the country? A king with a large jaw and a queen with a plain face on the throne of England. There were a king with a large jaw and a queen with a fair face on the throne of France. So again, this is the story of the tale of two cities. So we have London and we have Paris, two cities. In both countries, it was clearer than crystal to the lords of the state, preserves the loaves and fishes, that that things in general were settled forever. يعني إيه؟ بيقول ال lords, the people, the rulers of both countries, they got the loaves and fishes. يعني كان عندهم loaves وال fishes. And the people got nothing. The people were poor and the lords were so rich and they got everything. And for them everything was settled forever. يعني قالوا إن الوضع ده عمره ما هيتغير. بمعنى again they didn't think that the people would revolute. Okay, big ideas وتمام جميل كلام. It was the year 1775, so this is the time. Setting بتاعنا England and Paris with time. It was the year 1775. Okay. England, spiritual revelations were conceded to England at that favored period. يعني إيه؟ يعني England في الفترة دي كانت عايشة spiritual revelation. يعني people believed in spiritual facts, spiritual events, supernatural. الناس كانت عايشة على الخزعبلات, supernatural power. Okay. بعدين دخل في الديتيلز بقى. We can skip it. مين بقى Mrs. Southcott had recently attained her 25th blessed birthday. واحدة كان اسمها Southcott. يعني even in the test, if you don't understand that part, it's not important. مين Southcott؟ ده evidence على ال spiritual revelation. يعني دي واحدة كانت عايشة ويعني she believed in دي كانت الهيد بتاعة السحر والشعوذة والسوبرناتشرال. اوكي. فبيقول ان عندها 25. That's evidence على الكلام بتاعه. Okay, so Mrs. Southcott had recently weekends, يعني نقرأ بسرعة, okay, of whom a prophetic private in the life of God had heralded the sublime appearance by announcing that arrangements were made for the swallowing up of London and Westminster. يعني skip it. Even at the Cock Lane ghost تاني, كل ده evidence برضو إن الناس كانت عايشة في supernatural. Cock Lane ghost, they believed in ghosts, had been laid only around dozen of years after wrapping out its message. كل ده skimming بسرعة. As the spirits of this year last passed, blah 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 blah, wrapped out of theirs. Mere messages in the earthly order of events had lately come to the English crown and people from a congress of British subjects in America. Blah blah blah, which is strange to relate. لا 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 لا, كل ده ايه evidence. ما فيش أي shift في الأحداث. هو describe how they lived. فيعني مش هندخل في الديتيلز قوي. It's not that important. You don't have much time for that in the test. I'm showing you it ازاي بتقرا في الامتحان. Okay, paragraph. The next paragraph. France. Less favored في non-essential on the whole as matter of spiritual than her sister of the shield and trident. Her sister اللي هي England of the shield and trident. يعني France كانت less favored. France مش قوي كانت داخلة في موضوع spiritual ده. يبقى again England في paragraph, France في paragraph. Rolled with exceeding smoothness down the hill. France كانت نازلة الهيل, يعني برضو going down financially بقى وكل حاجة عليه. Making paper money and spending it. يعني they are spending, so financially كان عندهم مشاكل. Under the guidance of those who ruled her, she entertained herself, beside with such humane achievement that were nothing but humane. طبعا هنيجي للبارت ده we can discuss it later في ال questions. يعني هو بيقول ان هنا France like يعني she did kind humane, she did kind achievement. عملت حاجات انجازات رائعه جدا وكانت humane, كانت so kind. ايه هي بقى الkind things اللي عملتها فرانس؟ بص بيقول ايه: sentencing a youth to his utter demise like death because he had not kneeled down in the rain to do honor to a traitor which passed within view at distance of some 50 or 60 yards. يعني that's طبعا that's ironic. يعني he's saying in France كانت عايشة بتعمل kind achievement. ايه بقى kind achievement؟ ان she sentenced youth, شاب صغير, she sentenced him to death, موتوه. ليه؟ because he had not kneeled, يعني ما ركعش in the rain to do honor to a traitor which passed. كان في عندهم rule, كان عندهم law, and when someone important like a lord or someone important, أي حد معدي, the common people they should kneel, لازم تركع وتنزل على رجلك. ف if you don't do that you are sentenced to death. طبعا this is not humane at all يعني. ف this is ironic. Okay. It is likely enough that rooted in the woods of France and Norway there were growing trees, كان في trees, when that sufferer was put to death, already marked by the woodman. بص بقى الوودمان بعدين حط هنا ايه non essential. ايه الوودمان ده؟ someone who يعني شغال يعني في الحطب او في الوود. fate طبعا this is symbolism. يعني ايه symbolism؟ fate القدر. يعني في اللحظه دي عايز يقول ان الفيت the revolution is coming. فده يا ولاد يعني ده بيسموه ايه؟ symbolism. يعني عايز اوصل فكرتي بس من غير ما اقولها ان the revolution is coming، ولكن someone is watching او something. مين الsomeone ده؟ الوودمان. هو مش وودمان، مش حطاب، ولكن هو الفيت القدر. what is fate؟ ان the revolution is coming. this is fate. اوكي فبيعمل زي حاجه allegory story اوكي جوه الاحداث. Okay, so the woodman to come down and sewn into boards. هيقطع الشجر ويعمله boards to make a certain movable framework with a sack and a knife in it. Terrible in history. يعني he's saying in fate اللي this person, that symbolism طبعا will cut down the trees to make حاجة اسمها الجيلوتين. ايه الجيلوتين؟ This is the guillotine. دي كانت تول بيستخدموها في الفرنش ريفولوشن عشان يقطعوا راس الناس. كانت حاجة شهرة يعني شهيرة so famous في الفترة دي الجيلوتين. So he's saying that the guillotine is coming. Fate is waiting to revenge. Okay, it is likely enough that in the rough outhouses of some tillers of the heavy land adjacent to Paris they were sheltered from the weather that very day. Root carts spattered with rustic mire snuffed about the cows and roosted in the poultry which the farmer. كل ده بقى احنا يعني مش لازم نفهمه قوي، يعني احنا عايزين نوصل للبيج ايدياز. القصه بقى جه الفارمر. مين الفارمر؟ death. يبقى انا عندي two symbols هنا. death اللي هو الفارمر، الموت جاي had already set apart to his tumbrils of the revolution. So death and fate are watching. So death for the aristocrats, death for the king and the queen. Okay, well, fate is a watching. But that woodman and the farmer, though they non-essential هنا, they work unceasingly. يعني شغالين unstopping. مش موقفين. مين دول؟ death and fate. They work. Okay, silently. No one heard them. No one knew that the revolution is coming as they went about with muffled tread. They rather for as much like since يعني for as much as to entertain any suspicion that they were awake. They are awake. Fate and death, they are awake. So he personified, you know, or symbolized, was to be disloyal and traitorous. يعني anyone who disbelieve in that the revolution is coming is disloyal. Okay, يلا بينا ندخل على questions. Okay, question number 1. The primary purpose of line 1 to 4 is to. Purpose. بنعمل ايه؟ Read the questions. Criticize a movement. Establish the theme of duality. قلنا يعني ايه duality؟ يعني equality of having two opposite elements. يعني بقول لك انت عندك duality. يعني انا sometimes I saw you so good. إنسان خير benevolent you help people. وفجأة الاقيك evil شرير. ف this is duality. Opposite ideas. عمال تقول حاجة وعكسها. Draw a contrast between ideas. Discredit a time period. You know, when you discredit something means you refuse it or you refuse to accept it. أو you dishonor. يعني when you discredit someone you dishonor him. طيب فاكرين الباراجراف الأولاني it was the best of times, worst of times, age of wisdom, foolishness, belief, incredulity. ملاحظين إيه؟ That's what? That's contrast. هتقولي يا مستر contrast. هقول لك okay so much. ف it is not a movement. Okay, مش بي discredit a time period. هو لسه مش he didn't discredit it, didn't dishonor. like establish. هو theme of duality ولا contrast between ideas. هو ده عايز يقول ideas. is it only ideas ولا is it a theme؟ فكرة الثيم فكرة أكبر. duality this is more general. فكرة الduality إن في people they were so rich, people were so poor, people lived in light, people lived in darkness. So that was the age of duality. This is the theme. هو عايز يقول theme of duality. Okay, so it is B. Okay, question 2 and 3 طبعا paired question. بنعمل إيه؟ Read question 2. The evidence in the passage suggests that the story most likely takes place إمتى؟ 17th century, 18th century, during the World War I. I think that was never mentioned. In the Middle Ages, I think برضو that was never mentioned. طب هنعمل إيه؟ Go to the evidence. هنروح على evidence و read the evidence. Okay. طيب إمتى؟ طيب نشوف كده line 14 and 19. okay. ولكن if we 14 and 19 قال ايه؟ the طبعا هنا البارت ده كله if you read it he didn't mention any time. okay. طب the next one from 20 to 24 there were a king. هنا be description للking. king of France, king of England, nothing was mentioned. okay. 29 it was the year 1775. اتقالت 1775. طب 1775 ده كان أنهي قرن؟ which century؟ هتقول لي مستر 17th century. لا، زود واحد يعني 17th يعني 1775 تبقى ال 18th century. يعني احنا عايشين مثلا في 2022 يبقى 20th century ولا 21st century؟ يبقى 21st century. okay. ف that's easy. for 2 okay it's B and for 3 it's C. okay. number 4 okay it can be inferred from the passage that the author most likely views the ruling power as which of the following. طبعا question without evidence. okay. طيب تعال نشوف نعرفه ازاي من اللي احنا قريناه. الرولينج باور اللي هو الكينج والكوين والرولرز اللي هو واحد معدي he didn't kneel ف they cut his head. فدول ايه بقى؟ a power that exhibits mercy to the people. I think that's the opposite. mercy رحمة. هم بيظهروا exhibits mercy بيظهروا رحمة للناس. طبعا that's the opposite. okay. an oppressive يعني oppressive يعني ill treated. ما تبقى انت انسان oppressive يعني انت بتعامل الناس معاملة سيئة جدا. ill treated. unjust opposite of just that oppresses its people. yes exactly. كانوا unjust كانوا oppress the people they ill treated the people. okay. نشوف كده C a power formed of woodmen farmers. I think طبعا it's not definitely not C. neutral power that does not heed its people. heed like pay attention يعني مش بيراعوا الناس بتوعهم وهم neutral. هم كانوا neutral power. I think they were oppressive. ما كانوش neutral يعني ولا وحشين ولا حلوين. neutral. I think it's B. okay. the tone in line 58 till 86 is best described. for tone on attitude of the author. وكان في فيديو للتون please watch it لو ما تعرفش يعني ايه تون. اوكي. فهو الاتيتيود بتاع الاوثر من 58 ل 66 كان ايه الاتيتيود بتاعه؟ satirical satirical like ironic. يعني ايه ironic؟ يعني you say something but you mean the opposite. يعني ايه؟ يعني انت قاعد ماسك الموبايل وعمال تلعب عليه. ف your father بابا معدي فطبطب عليك كده قال لك الله ينور يا حبيبي برافو عليك. يعني good work hard work. تعبت انت في المذاكره قوي. did he mean ان انت حضرتك يعني تعبت في المذاكره؟ انت قاعد بتلعب. فانت هتفهم هتضحك هتعرف قصده ايه. this is ايه؟ satirical or this is an irony. okay. B skeptical. skeptical like doubtful. انت متشكك دايما يعني انت doubtful. انت مش certain. انت مش متاكد حاجه فانت you doubt things. grudging يعني unwilling. يعني انت you do something unwillingly. grudging عملت حاجه بس على غير رغبتك. انزل you don't like but you do. grudging unwilling. condescending when you feel condescending يعني feeling superior. يعني انت حاسس بان انت يعني اعلى من الناس كلها. this is condescending. فالناس كلها اقل منك. belittling. اوكي تعال نشوف من 58 ل 66. اوكي 58 ل 66. اوكي. Under the guidance of those who ruled her she entertained herself beside with such humane achievement. فاكرين her ده اللي هو كان بيتكلم على France. اوكي. لو ما قريتش كويس ممكن ترجع اقرا من اول الباراجراف. لو انت ما قريتش الباراجراف كويس ارجع اقرا عشان تعرف مين her دي. اوكي. she entertained herself. So who ruled her؟ هو كان بيتكلم على rulers. Okay. she entertained herself. sorry هو بيتكلم على التون هنا. she entertained herself beside with such humane like kind achievement that were nothing but humane. يعني ايه were nothing but humane؟ يعني عايز يقول هي الاتشيفمنت الانجازات اللي عملتها فرانس كانت ما عملتش حاجه غير kind achievement. طبعا this is irony. هو ما عملتش humane خالص. ليه؟ نبص بعدها قالت ايه بتاعت sentencing a youth to demise. البارت بتاع الولد اللي هي who didn't kneel and they cut his head. يعني he didn't mean he just هو قال humane but he meant the opposite. هو قصده العكس. so this is ايه بقى؟ ده سميناه ايه هنا؟ satire or satirical. okay. question 6 line 33. okay. attained earned won achieved reached. طيب نشوف كده line 33 نحاول نعمل plug it in. okay 33. Okay. Mrs. Southcott had recently attained herself 25th blessed birthday. قصده ايه؟ في واحدة اسمها Mrs. Southcott had recently attained herself 25th blessed birthday. يعني reached وصلت ل 25th يعني 25 years old. She reached وصلت السن ده. So I think here she didn't earn. You don't earn the years, or you don't earn. We earn money. You won again, achieve, like you reached the age of 16. So 6D. Okay, number 7. Based on the passage, which of the following statements about the author's use of metaphors can be made؟ طبعا قلنا الميتافورز like يعني انت بتدسكرايب حاجه بحاجه تانية. يعني بقول لك you عايز اقول ان انت انسان شجاع جدا، فاقول لك you are a lion. This is a metaphor. You describe something بqualities من حاجه تانية. طبعا question بevidence. Okay, so the author uses a metaphor as a stylistic device. Okay, طبعا stylistic device ممكن نقول عليها stylistic device, rhetorical device, figures of speech. ايه هي stylistic device؟ يعني انا ايه؟ انا كرايتر I'd like to grab your attention. انا دايما عايز engage you. انا ليه اكتب اي حاجه I would like to engage you. مش عايزك تسيبني وتمشي، مش عايزك تقفل الفيديو ده، مش عايزك تقفل الستوري اللي انت بتقراه، فانا عايز اخليك engaged. فبستخدم ايه بقى؟ stylistic device. يعني ايه بقى؟ عايز دايما اعمل create imagery، عايزك دايما تتخيل imagery. So when I say you are a lion، ايه اللي هيجي في دماغك على طول؟ image of a lion. this is a metaphor. بقول لك you are like a flower. بنت جميله. you are like a flower. ايه اللي هيجي في دماغك؟ flower. فengaging ده المقصود بالstylistic device او stylistic او rhetorical device او figures of speech. B. The author uses metaphors to emphasize the narrative structure. Narrative structure حضرتك وانت جاي تعمل ستوري لازم يبقى عندك structure اكنك بتبني بيت بالظبط، فلازم يبقى عندك introduction, beginning, middle و end. Okay, the author uses metaphor to persuade the reader of his position. طيب هو عنده position، يعني هو قال رأيه. He didn't. The author just informing us بالsituation في البارت ده. So you just can eliminate it من first reading. The author uses metaphor to support concrete evidence. يعني هو عايز يستخدم الميتافور to support. عنده evidence قوي جدا he wanted to support. طيب في question B طبعا ده يعني في عندي paired question. فتعالى كده نشوف first evidence من 20 ل 24. Sorry. اوكي طيب ال 2024 I think we read that part خلاص، اللي هو بتاع الكينج والكوين. There were a king with a large jaw, queen with a plain face. description للكينج والكوينز اللي كانوا عايشين في England and France. Okay, nothing, no metaphor here. Okay, 45. Okay, so 45. Okay, mere messages in the earthly order of events had lately come to the English crown and people. From Congress to British subjects in America. Again, we have no metaphor here. خالص. 83. I think you remember in احنا we قرينا something about here metaphor in 83. Okay, but the woodman and the farmer, though they work unceasingly, work silently, and no one heard them as they went about with muffled tread. هو فعلا كان في woodman؟ فعلا كان في farmer؟ ولا this is a metaphor؟ يعني ايه this is a metaphor؟ هو مش بيتكلم على woodman ولا farmer. الwoodman ده كان الفيت والfarmer كان الدث. Okay, this is ايه؟ this is the metaphor. From 83. So it is from 83 ل 86. طب why did he use it بقى؟ استخدمه ليه؟ stylistic device. ده الstylistic device بتاعه. هو he wanted to engage the reader. عايز الريدر يبقى grab the reader's attention وان انت حضرتك تتخيل بقى. To imagine. Okay, الفارمر وهو working والwoodman working وبيcut the trees to make the guillotine. Okay. Okay, question 9 vocabulary as used in line 86. tread. طيب شوف tread ونعملها path, journey, footsteps, parade. Parade like marching. عارفين ما يبقى يعني في group of soldiers ماشيين ورا بعض كده. This is a parade like موكب يعني. Okay, طيب 86. Okay, so but the woodman and the farmer, though they work unceasingly, طبعا the non-essential work على طول ده الverb silently, and no one heard them. هم شغالين محدش سمعهم as they went about. وهم ماشيين ده يعني تخيل بقى with muffled like silently. tread يعني footsteps. Your tread means your walk. طريقة مشيك اسمها tread. فهم ماشيين بطريقة muffled. No one can hear them. يعني muffled هنا معناها ايه؟ footsteps أو tread sorry. muffled like muted silent وماشيين بخطوة silent. So the answer is so it is not a path, it's not a journey, footsteps. Okay, question 10. The relationship between the first and second paragraph and the rest of the passage can best be described as A. فاكرين طبعا ال first paragraph ال duality. Okay, و دخل بعد كده فين في الكينج والكوين و how they treated the people. Okay, so how can this relation العلاقة ما بين paragraph 1 وبقية الباسج ايه؟ paragraph 1 can premise. يعني ايه premise؟ يعني assumption. يعني when you assume something يعني تعالى نعمل premise كده ان الارث مثلا is not round، ان الارث مثلا على شكل بطيخة. This is my premise assumption. انا جيت كده قلت assumption claim. هل في premise اتقال في الاول؟ That's not a premise. Followed by opposition. يعني انا قلت premise قلت claim بعدين جيت عملت opposition قلت لا دي مش على شكل بطيخة دي على شكل خيارة. That's the opposition. ما كانش ولا في premise ولا opposition. Okay. Analogy. يعني ايه analogy؟ الكلمة دي مهمة جدا. Comparison. قارن بين حاجتين. Yes. أيوة كان في comparison. It was the best of times for some people. It was the worst of times for some people. This is comparison. Followed by narrative structure. بعدين بنى القصة بتاعته بقى. Assertion. Followed by supporting evidence. طبعا there was no assertion. He didn't claim anything. Assertion like claim. Analysis. He didn't analyze anything. Followed by generalization. تعميم يعني يقول all people are like that. But it is not analysis ولا كان generalization. I think it is an analogy. Okay. Okay, so that will be enough. يعني احنا التست ده هنقسمه على parts. Okay, فإن شاء الله part 2 هنكمله بإذن الله. هنكمل الريدنج مع بعض وهننزل إن شاء الله الرايتنج بتاعه. Thank you so much. طبعا يعني مش عايز أفكركم إذا يعني الفيديو ده you find it beneficial استفدت منه please don't forget to like وسبسكرايب وشير عشان يعني غيرك يستفيد. ولو عندك أي question please leave a comment. ولو حابب يعني you can turn on notification. Thank you so much والسلام عليكم.